Welcome back to Mock the Mock, where we take a look at someone else's mock draft. And I'm mocking, giving you my views, thoughts, and opinions. PFF's own Trevor Sikkema put out a new mock draft, so we gotta cover that sucker. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Special thanks to today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. If you are looking to, I don't know, maybe do a little weekly fantasy or maybe player prop bets, then check out Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Broshmo when you sign up and they'll hook you up from the get-go. Remember, my friends, bet responsibly. Let's go ahead and get into this sucker with the Texans taking Bryce Young. He is going to be the top quarterback for a lot of people, yours included. Me right here, baby. But for me, it's a no-brainer. I don't think we really need to talk about this point in depth. Texas need a franchise quarterback. They're in a spot where they can get a franchise quarterback. Therefore, they get franchise quarterback. Makes all the sense in the world. Chicago Bears next on the clock here take Jalen Carter. Let's read what Trevor has to say about this. On the defensive line that features Trevon Walker, Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, and Nolan Smith, Carter felt like the best of the bunch during Georgia's historic national championship run. If you were with the channel last year, you should remember me constantly saying Jalen Carter is the best player on that Georgia defense. I said it ad nauseum, and I made it a point to include it whenever I talked about Jordan Davis or Devontae Wyatt and such, like just how good Jalen Carter is. And I really think Matt Eberflus would look at this and be like, let me get my DeForest Buckner. Perhaps. Honestly, they could go Will Anderson. Both are great picks, really. You could go either or. All right, I imagine the Seattle Seahawks are going Will Anderson. I know some of y'all talk about maybe them going quarterback here, which is totally in the realm of possibility. But I think at least the safer pick to mock right now is Will Anderson. It's basically him and Jalen Carter are the best non-quarterback prospects in this class. Seattle, you're taking whoever the Bears don't decide to take. As long as Seattle is not planning on taking quarterback, you're taking whoever the Bears don't take. So they get Will Anderson here. Will Anderson, flipping a monster, dude. And honestly, based on his first two seasons, this season was kind of a down year, and he's still like in the top 10 in terms of pressures and sacks. It's kind of insane. All right. The Arizona Cardinals. This is a tough position to be in because you don't need a quarterback, and the top two non-quarterback prospects are off the board. So where do you go? In this, they're going Myles Murphy. This is actually exactly how my mock draft yesterday kind of played out. So could totally see it happening this way. Myles Murphy, the dude's going to test out very similarly to Trevon Walker. At least I expect him to. He's more polished in terms of being a pass rusher than Trevon Walker, though that's not saying much. But the production's also been better than Trevon Walker, who, if you don't remember, went first overall in 2022. So Cardinals grab him here. Also with the news of J.J. Watt retiring, maybe pass rush becomes a bit more of a priority. Feels too early to take tackle here. And then also, like, you can get your shot at corner, but honestly, I have Myles Murphy ahead of all the corners in this class. Indianapolis Colts, they go Will Levis. I took C.J. Stroud in my mock. I think the floor is a lot higher with Stroud, though with Levis, the ceiling is much higher. The dude's just got tools for days. Also, if you didn't know, I just put out my quarterback rankings that are pre-Senior Bowl. That way, when the Senior Bowl happens, I can put out new rankings. So I'm getting my rankings videos done right now. But I brought it up that Will Levis, people are going to bring up, oh, well, the age, so him and Hendon Hooker shouldn't be that far apart. But it's like Hendon Hooker at his, first off, a whole year older. But typically these guys that are like 23, 24, 25, their physical tools are tapped. Typically what you see is what you're gonna get. There's not much more of a ceiling. Typically these guys, they're as tall as they're gonna be. Their arm is as strong as it's gonna be. Usually that's what you're gonna get. And with Will Levis, he actually has very high-end tools compared to a Hendon Hooker. Someone tried to come at me, he was like, well, Hendon Hooker, I mean, they're both old. I don't see why he's not being talked about in the same vein. And I'm like, well, the tools are vastly different. They're vastly different. You might be at that age point where it's like, okay, typically physical traits are what they're going to be. Let's take a look at them. Okay, well, Levis, exceptionally high end, and Hookers, they're fairly all right. So, yeah. Colts, this is quarterback regardless. The Atlanta Falcons are going Jared Verse. I had one person in my mock give me crap about how can you give Atlanta a guy outside the top 20? You crazy! Jared Verse ain't going to be outside the top 20. I have him as a top 20 guy, and I think he's probably going to be like this guy that goes inside the top 15, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him this high. I like the idea of the Falcons getting more pass rush. I think Brian Breezy is also a guy to take into consideration at this point. I think somewhere along the front four for the Falcons would make sense at this juncture. You could also make the case maybe quarterback, but let's kind of wait and see how Desmond Ridder finishes out the season and if he shows anything worth moving forward onto next year with. So Jared Verse, absolutely love Jared Verse. So essentially this is how my mock kind of went for Batum, and then Brian Breezy going to the Detroit Lions. I love the idea of pairing him up with the Liam McNeil on the interior. Then you got Aiden Hutchinson on the outside there. We're seeing a little bit of Justin James Houston from Jackson State. Seeing a little bit more of him, but he firmly looks like he's going to be a rotation player, though a guy that brings a lot. I don't think he's eclipsed 100 snaps yet. Already 12 pressures, 5 sacks. Like, dude's been really good. Yeah, I like the addition of Breeze here. I think he's going to test out exceptionally well. And then the Carolina Panthers, they go with quarterback again. This is kind of how my mock draft fell, except for switch Levis and Stroud. The Carolina Panthers, they have to draft a quarterback. The only quarterback they have on the roster right now is PJ Walker. So you kind of got to do it. I think maybe a case could be made that, well, this is the thing, dude. If the Panthers mess up and end up winning the AFC South, it's like, what do you do at quarterback then? Like, you're going to have to bring someone in. You're not going to be in a place being able to draft one, at least one you can start next year. So that's going to be interesting. We'll find out how that plays out after this weekend. All right, and then the Las Vegas Raiders. This is where things differ, as I did trades in my last one, because I mean we did that mock the mock Monday on the Draft Network, and they had trades, and it was all kinds of fun. And I was like, you know what? I haven't done one with trades in like a month, so let's go ahead and do one. So I actually had the Steelers moving to this spot, taking an offensive tackle, but Tyree Wilson, another guy that's probably going to be a top 15 guy because of the length is insane. The movement skills for a guy his size are really good. You know, you get an exceptionally good run defender. Just needs a bit more polish as a pass rusher. So throwing this cat right next to Max Crosby when things with Chandler Jones. Don't know what will happen this offseason, but it's going to be interesting. And all the quarterbacks are off the board. They just benched Derek Carr. So, ooh, man, if he's not back with the team, it's going to be interesting to see what the Raiders decide to do in both the offseason and maybe in the draft. But going Wilson here makes sense. The Philadelphia Eagles go Keely Ringo. I did Christian Gonzalez. I think either or. Both are good scheme fits. Excuse me. I think both are really good in teams that are heavy single high teams. So like the Eagles in 2021, they did a lot of cover 3. This year, they're doing a lot more man coverage. So Christian Gonzalez, Keely Ringo, they both tick those boxes. So either or here. I'm a big Ringo fan. Obviously, James Bradbury is a free agent. And the Houston Texans, this one's super interesting as they go Peter Skoronski. I like going receiver here because typically all the edge talent is off the board when I get to this 11 pick. And then we're staring down guys that are probably more in that late first round area like B.J. Ojolari, Nolan Smith. Not even really a good scheme fit, I think. Isaiah Foskey, Felix Anudike. We're just talking about a lot of different edge guys that aren't good values at this point. Peter Skoronski, I think, go Joe. The Chiefs will be later, buddy. Calm down. All right. You're gonna scoff at me, okay? I think it's interesting because the idea here is to move Titus Howard to left guard. Kenyon Green will be playing right guard, and then you got Skoronski there, right tackle. Or quite frankly, you could do Skoronski at one of the guard spots and keep Howard out there at right tackle, which he's been fine. But tell me this doesn't sound like something the Texans would do, especially after taking Kenyon Green last year at pick 15. That this is a team that really wants to run the football. They want to win in the trenches. So I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that crazy. All right, Coach, I'll let you out, bud. Be free. All right, well, who do we got next? Who's number 12? I think it's the Seahawks. Seahawks are going Christian Gonzalez. Again, this is something very similar to what I did in my mock. You just switch the corners around. Both are very good scheme fits. I mean, what you have the Seahawks, who are usually have been a very cover 3 heavy team. So both are great. Both are fine. I like the idea of matching Tariq Woolen with another just big athlete. Keep Kobe Bryant there in on the slot. I think that's just money. You want to have talent. You want to have competition there at the quarterback spot, and this allows you to do that. All right. Tennessee Titans are going Quentin Johnston. So this was basically kind of similar to my mock, except for switched Houston's pick and Tennessee's pick. So very interesting. I mean, you get two freaking animals in Burks and Johnston there at wide receiver. You could honestly throw a ball up to either of those guys, and they'll probably come down with it. I kind of like the idea of getting maybe a better separator, like a Jordan Addison, but I'm not against Quentin Johnston because Johnston's probably going to be my wide receiver 1. And speaking of which, you got the New England Patriots going Jordan Addison. I did a trade at this pick, so yeah, but I love the idea of the Patriots going with Jordan Addison. You get this guy that can separate both vertically and horizontally, a guy that can play inside the slot and prove that he can play outside this season. They need playmakers at the receiver position. This would give them a playmaker. The New York Jets go Paris Johnston. He went earlier in my mock because of a trade, but I think one of my favorite spots is the Jets going tackle because this enables you to let Elijah Vera Tucker play right tackle. And you're going to have whoever you draft here, whether it's, in this case, Paris Johnson, maybe even Broderick Jones, have them contend with Mekhi Becton for left tackle. And then you got Laken Tomlinson, bring back Connor McGovern, and then even bring back Nate Herbig. I don't know what his contract's like. I imagine it was just a 1-year deal. But regardless, Nate Herbig has played fine enough. And suddenly your offensive line's in really good shape. All right, Pittsburgh Steelers, Broderick Jones. I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, I had the Steelers move up for Paris Johnson. Regardless, we all think, a majority of people like the idea of the Steelers going tackle. Broderick Jones, I think, might be better just because a better fit to start off just because his run blocking is super good. Who would have thought they're at Georgia? This is a team in the Steelers who they haven't created a lot of space for guys like Najee and then even Jalen Warren, who's ended up being a very solid pick there. But yeah, man, I like the idea of Jones. I was never a big Dan Moore guy, but I think he's proven he can be solid depth. Even Okora Ford's not all that great, but is what it is. Green Bay Packers, Michael Mayer. This is a very popular pick for a lot of people now. Robert Tonyan? Yes, Robert Tonyan is a free agent after this season. This allows them to get another pass catcher in there who's also a very good run blocker. Detroit Lions go Joey Porter Jr. Made this pick in my mock draft. Phenomenal. You get a guy who could play across from Jeffrey Okudah, and you combine that with getting some good interior pressure in the form of Byron Brazee. That's a solid draft for the Detroit Lions. Jacksonville Jaguars did this in mine as well. This is just now me comparing my mock draft. They go Cam Smith. Getting someone across from Tyson Campbell I think is very important. Smith is kind of the forgotten corner in this class, though I would say he's in contention with the other three to be the top corner off the board. So I do like the idea. I think the Jags are in a good place where they will have a corner probably slip to them at 19. The New England, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go Nolan Smith. This one's very interesting. This is a team that does need pass rush help. They just, outside of Barrett, they haven't really got it from anyone else. Like Tryon hasn't really created a lot of pressure. But like Smith can stay on the field as a run defender as well. So you're just adding an uber athlete for the Bucks. You had all the corners kind of like those top tier corners are all gone. Now at this point, you're probably looking at like Devon Witherspoon. But I think Nolan Smith's a good get here. I think it's a good change of pace. I might lean the corner just because you have so many significant free agents at the corner position. The Washington Commanders are going Anton Harrison. Big fan of Anton Harrison. I think the play strength will get better. This is interesting because I really think they're fine with Cosme. Like, everyone and their mom wants to move Cosme into guard. But like Leno's been fine as well. I mean, I guess it's not a bad thing to move Cosme into guard because he'll excel there as well. So it's like, it's not bad. Big fan of Anton Harrison, though. He's kind of that next tier of tackles with like guys like Darnell Wright, Dwan Jones and such, but yeah, love me Anton Harrison. Played very well at Oklahoma. The Miami Dolphins forfeited their pick. Fins up. New York Giants are going Anthony Richardson. This also feels like a popular landing spot for Anthony Richardson in mock drafts. There's going to be a ton of the Giants are going to have to figure out what they want to do with Daniel Jones. Can they maybe bring him in on like a just a couple of years, maybe a team friendly salary, even if they have to pay a little extra just to keep him around, to bring in a guy to develop that you hope will eventually be your franchise quarterback, I think is nice. A lot of people are split on Daniel Jones, on what they feel like he is for the Giants. Is he the quarterback of the future, or is he just the quarterback right now? And however you may feel about it, I guess I don't care. I think you can make a case. I think you can make a case why Daniel Jones, you can move forward with Daniel Jones. I don't think you can make a good enough case on that he should be the guy you think is the future of your franchise. I don't think there's a good enough case to be made there. But I think there's a good case that you should bring him back and have him be the quarterback right now, especially if you get a guy like Richardson that you're not going to want him to start year one. And then the Chargers are going Zay Flowers. And when Jordan Addison on the board, honestly, this isn't a bad get. Zay Flowers, I kind of have a hard time with ball skills, with the size in general. But, like, there's no denying, man. The guy is one of the best movers in this class. The dude is a filthy route runner, a guy that can attack to all three levels. A lot of his stuff this season wasn't as schemed up as it has been in the past, which you like to see. It's just, I don't know, like he's in the day two territory for me, but I don't know if you could talk me into him being a first rounder. Like, I don't know. Maybe I end up getting behind that he's like a Jahan Dotson type. I don't know. I'm still probably a bigger fan of Josh Downs. And but there's no speaking of which, there's no denying that I think the Chargers would love to get another vertical target, a guy that can separate vertically. Baltimore Ravens go Clark Phillips III. This one's very interesting because I just don't think it's necessarily a good scheme fit. And I want to kind of read this and take a look. I don't know if I'm not in love with the scheme fit of Clark Phillips to the Ravens. I'm just not. I love Clark Phillips. I think ideally you're getting this guy. Like, he can play on the outside, but you probably want him in an off coverage type of role, and I don't think that's just something the Ravens just don't do. But there's no denying corner might be a popular spot with Marcus Peters as a free agent. The Denver Broncos go Osiris Torrance. I kind of think this team needs a tackle more than it needs a guard. Dalton Reisner is a free agent, but they got Glasgow. They got Miners. You're kind of set there at the guard spot. I don't think you really need to take Torrance here. I think you're more so looking for that maybe right tackle moving forward, so we could talk about like who are the guys that fit that profile. Probably guys like Darnell Wright, DeJuan Jones. Those are probably the two popular names at this point. Both are still like fringe first for me. Not even fringe first. They're firmly day two. What am I talking about? Got to slap myself out of it. Who's another guy I like here? No, that's probably it. You could jump in on the corner class. More corner depth's never a bad thing. You could go Siaki Ika. I don't think that's a bad idea with they have a few free agents on the interior there. There's like a lot of different ways they could go here. Osiris Torrance is a really good prospect though. The Dallas Cowboys go Jackson Smith and Ajigba. I think that's kind of nifty. CeeDee Lamb's been playing more on the outside. Well, he's been playing both, but if you get a guy that could just be this monster on the in the slot, feel free to move CeeDee Lamb more on the outside. You got Michael Gallup there. Hopefully maybe Jalen Tolbert does better in year 2. They do have Simi Fehoko, but he's really just a special teamer at this point. But I mean, there's gonna be a handful of teams that feel that Jackson Smith, Najigba, what role he can fit on their offense, they'd be willing to take the first round swing. And then there's gonna be teams that just don't value him that highly at all. It's gonna be interesting. The Bengals go Darnell Wright. This one's actually pretty interesting. Let's see if they can take their tackle. Oh, wait. If they can take a chance on a tackle at the back end of the first round, it would be well worth it. Wright has played this past season a right tackle for the Vols, and he did so with a ton of power, weighing at 335. He's not just a bruiser either, with just 3 pressures allowed on 93 pass sets this season. I think they meant to say true pass sets. And if you don't know what a true pass set is, it's just it's a pass set not influenced by the run. So no play actions. I think they probably take motion out of there as well. So it's basically that. No RPO, none of that. It's the truest form of they are passing the football. All right, so I think this is fine. I like the idea of them going tackle, but I mean, again, we're talking about a lot of guys that probably feel better about taking a day 2. I don't know if there's you could probably sneak a tight end at this pick, potentially. I don't know if there's one I'd be okay taking. There's corners here. The edge talent is so immense here. It's like you might be like, oh, why the hell not? Let's go for it. I don't know. I think there's a lot of interesting things the Bengals could do. The Kansas City Chiefs take Cody Mott out of North Dakota State. This guy might not even necessarily be a tackle in the NFL. He might end up going to guard, but he's got the movement skills to get tackle. It's just at North Dakota State, they don't play a lot of, how should I say, pass protection. So he's a bit raw as a pass protector, and I think he's a 6-year player. So it's like, do you really want a guy that raw right now that's that deep into his career? I don't know. Regardless, a tackle is I would say a big need for the Chiefs because Orlando Brown is a free agent, but he's kind of had a down year, and Wiley is not it. And then the Minnesota Vikings, Devon Witherspoon, really like this pick. You got Patrick Peterson as a free agent, so grabbing more guys there. Grabbing more competition for the quarterback room is always, I think, a great answer, especially when your defense has been this bad. All right, so Bijan's going here at 31. Best believe he's probably going top 20, probably. Let's just talk about the Bills taking Bijan. I mean, that's kind of a sick group moving forward, Bijan and James Cook, because I can't imagine them bring back Devin Singletary. Well, I don't think they want to pay significant money for Singletary. So it's kind of a value pick, but it's kind of a very nice value pick. I think Buffalo, they would love to get Osiris Torrance here. Obviously, he went a little bit earlier, but I think that would be a guy that comes to mind. The Philadelphia Eagles are finishing off with Siaki Ika. I did listen to the It's Just Football podcast to hear what Trevor had to say about this, and he was just talking about how disgusting would it be to have two big, meaty boys like Siaki Ika and Jordan Davis there in the middle. Like, you ain't running on that. Those guys are space eaters to the truest extent. So I think it's an interesting pick, and it sounds like honestly something that they would do. In all honesty, like, you would think maybe the Eagles would want maybe more of a penetrator type next to Jordan Davis, but like, I don't hate this. I honestly don't. I kind of like it. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing, and as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.